Vasudeva. Hari Om. Sem no mitra sem varunaha sem no bhavatvaryama sem na indro bruhaspatihi sem no vishnururkramaha namo brahmane namaste vayo tvameva pratyaksham brahmasi tvameva pratyaksham brahma vadishyami ratam vadishyami satyam vadishyami tanmamavatu tadvaktaramavatu avatu mam avatu vaktaram. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Pratyapāschātya deshanam samanvaya vidhayakam Shantam Saumya Gunopetam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha. So, welcome to all our brothers and sisters. So, we are now continuing the study of the aphorism 13 and 14. So, Patanjali is explaining in these aphorisms about the two implements which we have to apply to be able to keep in the state where the behavior of our mind is suspended. Because yoga is suspension of the behavior of the mind. So, how the behavior of the mind can be suspended? By applying two implements. One is abhyasa, that means a repetition of the effort, and another is vairagya, a non-attachment. So he is explaining first about abhyasa. In Aphorism 13 he said, abhyasa is repetition of the idea. What is the idea? The idea is to keep the behavior of the mind suspended. That is the idea. So it is repetition is to remain in that idea, in that state of stoppage of behavior towards impressions. So abhyasa is tatra sthitau yatnaha. So it is that effort. Yatnaha is keep repeating so as to remain in that state of behavior towards impressions. So our mind makes its behavior as a reaction towards the impressions that are received. That is how the mind keeps behaving in either of the 5 types which were explained before. It was explained before 5 types of behavior are there for chitta, for our mind. So suspension of the behavior of the mind is yoga. So that state means it is state of stoppage of behavior. That state of behavior towards impressions. So we have to make it a repetition. So the idea is to be translated into attitude. That is how we have to understand. First of all, we get the idea in the mind that the behavior of the mind should be suspended. That is the idea. But how it gets suspended, we have to cultivate an attitude for the suspension. So for this purpose you have to make a repetition. Repeat again to remain in that state. If you do not repeat, it does not stay in that state for a longer time. It will change. So we have to keep repeating so that it keeps in that state continuously. Which state? The state of mind where there are no impressions. So the idea is to be translated into attitude. Our attitude should be there. Attitude, and we have to make an attempt, a repeated attempt. Unless we make an attempt, we cannot attain that state, and we cannot sustain that state of suspension. So, three things: attitude, attempt, and action. It should be continuously focused on everything we do. In our daily life, we do so many things. From the time we open our eyes in the morning, that means when we wake up, till again we close our eyes in the night and get into sleep. During this time, we keep continuously acting, doing something. So what we have to do is, this idea should be continuously focused on everything we do. When we are eating, also we have to focus. When we are drinking, focus on it. So this focus on this state should not fade away, whatever we are doing. That is why in Bhagavad Gita also, Lord says that whatever you are doing, whatever you are eating, whatever you are offering, whatever you are giving in charity, and whatever you are thinking and contemplating, all these things you offer to me and submit to me. Me means the I am. That is the Lord. That is what the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita. So this attitude should be developed. We have to put an effort to develop this as an attitude. Then automatically it continues. So everything we do, we have to focus this. In fact, it is so. When can we focus this? on everything only when we are living in the present. Then only it is possible. Suppose I am speaking to you, I am teaching to you, then also I have to keep this idea focused on this. So I have to completely, suppose the same thing what we are doing now, we are, if we are in the present, what we are doing, we are studying aphorisms of Patanjali. I am acting as a teacher, you are acting as a student. So the phenomenon is going on. So we are in the present. So in this context also, how can we submit this to the I am the Lord consciousness? When I think I am speaking, then who is that I am that is speaking? It is not just this body or some part of the body, but it is the I am from where it comes as I am. So, this should be focused on that I am. And you are listening as a student. So I have to focus this process of teaching, this process of listening, and the teacher and the student, all this. And upon all this I have to keep focusing that all this is surrendered to the indweller, the Lord. Then mind will not produce any impressions. So the behavior of the mind will be suspended. So focus on everything we do. So it is an effort to live in present with every incident of our life. This is what is implied. In the stanza of Bhagavad Gita which I explained you, what is implied is live always in the present. That is why he said, whatever you are eating, whenever you are eating, when you are doing something, any sort of act, what you are doing, because you cannot be without action. That is also explained by Bhagavad Gita, by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita, in the 3rd chapter, that no one can be without any action, even for a fraction of a minute. So we are doing something, action is going on. You cannot avoid this. So if I want to close my eyes and keep me without moving even any part of the body, I keep myself stiff without moving, then I say I have no action now, I am not in action. But even then, I am in action. Only you cannot see my movement externally, but I am breathing, I am inhaling, I am exhaling, I am thinking, and through all my 5 senses I am working. So all this is action. So you cannot say that even for a moment you cannot be without any action. So therefore action is inevitable for every being. Some people, we may think sometimes that, I don't do any work now. I will lie down without moving. Oh yes, You can, only your body you can keep without moving, but even the body also, you don't know that it is moving. Because inhalation and exhalation is going on and heart beating is going on, pumping of the blood is going on, they cannot stop. If they stop, you will be not there. So, action is not stopped. Never it can stop until it changes the state which we call death. So how can you cannot stop. So therefore, if you keep focusing every moment this idea, then that means you have to live in the present. There is no use of focusing to the past or focusing to the future. It is absolutely useless. So a real yogi lives always in the present, in the sense that for him, he does not dwell in the past of his mind, and he does not dwell in the future also. A real yogi is always, he lives in the present. His consciousness is stabilized in the present. That is what is expected by a yogi. So therefore, we should continuously keep focused on everything we do. In fact, it is an effort to live in the present with every incident of daily life. We have so many incidents in our daily life. With every incident, it applies. So with every incident, we are in the present. That is the thing. We are in the present. So, it is normal that a non-yogic mind to get involved in motive or emotion while talking or transacting business with another person. For a non-yogic mind, so before we enter into practice of yoga, we are in non-yogic state. So for a non-yogic mind, it is normal to get involved in a motive or emotion. While talking or transacting, while talking or taking food or making any transaction, we get involved in motive or emotion. That shows that when you are involved in a motive or an emotion, while talking or while acting, that shows that you are not yet on the yogic path. But then you can say that I have been practicing yoga for a pretty long time, but still I am getting emotional. A lot of emotional disturbances are going on. How can it be? Why all this is happening even though I am practicing yoga for several years? But what you are practicing yoga is just only some postures which you call yoga. Some asanas or some postures, the Hatha Yoga, that you must be practicing, but you are not trying to focus yourself towards the real sense of yoga. It means suspension of the behavior of mind. You are not aware of the behavior of mind, then how can you suspend? A normal non-yogic person, a person who is not on the yogic path, he doesn't know anything about this behavior. He cannot even know that his mind is behaving. How his mind is behaving, he never observes it. See, we have to practice observing our mind. But when you are identified with the mind, how can you observe it? You should not get identified with the mind. These are the preliminary things which you have to again and again apply and Keep aware of this. If you get identified with your mind, how can you observe your mind? So you should not get identified with the mind. Mind is your instrument. So we have to remember that I am different from my mind. I am different from my body. That is why, how do you express while explaining about this? I say I have a body. Yes, it is true, it is correct. It is the right expression. And then I say I have my senses. Yes, true. It is the right expression. Then if I say I have my mind, yes, I have a mind. That is true, that is the real expression. Nothing wrong. And then I have my house, I have this, I have that. So what I have is infinite. If you are asked to make a list of what I have, never-ending list will be there. Even 1 terabyte is not enough to make a table of what you have. What I have, this I have. So therefore, what I have is different from what I am. So therefore, you have to first realize that you should not get identified with the mind. Then you can observe your mind. If I have a computer, I can observe what is happening in the computer, only I am not identified with the computer. If I get identified with the computer, I cannot see what is happening there. So similarly, we have to remember that I am not the mind. My mind is only an instrument of me. So then you can keep observing your mind. So when you practice this, observing the mind, we have to observe the mind, you have to observe the breath. How much time in a day we are mindful of the process of our breathing? Never. Because we have more important things than this. You see? That is the poor human logic. Other things are more important than our inhalation and exhalation and than our heartbeat. There are many more important things. That means it is ridiculous. That means we don't know which is important, which is not. So therefore, we have to have a non-yogic mind it is impossible to get, because the non-yogic mind is always involved, identified, involved. Involved in a motive. See, when I do some work, then I am bound by a motive. So this motive is a binding factor for us. And another thing is emotion. So involved in emotion. So this emotion, we get involved in the emotion while talking or transacting business with other person. Business means not only commercial business but anything with another person, transacting. Even between husband and wife. Most of the people, because they are not still on the yogic path, while speaking to each other, even husband and wife also, they speak involving with emotion. Much emotion is involved in their talking. Because they are identified. The husband feels, I am the husband. He forgets that he is a human being. Wife also feels that I am the wife. She doesn't remember that she is, by birth, she is not a wife. How can be a person be a husband or a wife by birth? Ridiculous. But we do not realize this. We feel I am a husband, I am a wife, I am a officer, I am the boss. So all this is getting due to the involvement in emotion. That is why we are stuck up. So what happens? Therefore, then it is the duty of a yoga student. So when you want to step into yoga practice, yoga path, you want to be a yoga student. So a yoga student has to make an effort to not to get involved. First of all, this is what we have to practice. That doesn't mean that you have to get away from the situation. If you want to run away from the situation, that is not the thing. If you run away, you want to escape, you are not fit for yoga. You have to be in the present. You have to face, you have to take up the work, you have to be there. But at the same time, you have to practice not to involve with emotion. That is what we have to practice. So, motive and emotion, these two things are to be filtered off. Constant effort results in constant practice. So, effort should be paid. For example, if I say, I practice yoga every day for half an hour or 1 hour, then what about another 23 hours? That means we are accepting that we are trying to be in yoga for only 1 hour, and another 23 hours I have different compartments of my life. Then it is not yoga. Yoga should not be just a little compartment of your life. Your whole life should be in the light of yoga. Therefore, we have to constantly apply it. Therefore, we have to be constantly in the present. Otherwise, it is not possible. So, we know the wonderful power of habit on the behavior. So, when we put this repetition, this effort, then what we do? We make a change in our attitude. We can bring a change in our attitude. We can bring a change in the behavior. We can make a better use of the power by constant effort. There is one very important, very strong implement is habit, which is a very strong instrument. So we can use this very powerful instrument in a better manner by constant effort. We have to put a constant effort. How to make use of these instruments. That is there in the nature. Habit. In the nature, everything is perfectly working because of habit only. So, for example, our heart is beating with a rhythm. How can it maintain the rhythm? Because of habit. Similarly, our respiration, all our systems that are working in us, they are working because of habit, not because of by us. It is not because of our emotions and all these things. Because of habit. So that is a very important instrument. It has a great power. There is a lecture by Master E.K., Power of Habit. Master has given this lecture in Europe, Power of Habit. In that lecture he has explained with several examples from our daily life how much powerful is habit. So we have to make use of that power. So we have to use this habit to change our behavior so that we can make it possible that our behavior of mind can be suspended. So that is what is very much, it is this is what we are trying to study. This is very important. So this abhyasa, is, so this awareness, this is awareness. So we have to live in the yogic awareness every moment. That is what is implied by this abhyasa. You have to live every moment in this yogic awareness. While you are speaking with your wife or children or friend or enemy, there should be no enemy if you are really in the yogic practice. So, it starts from your daily life, from your own house, from your family. If you are in that awareness, then you find that there is no occasion for you to feel any discomfort with anyone in your family or in your house. You know, in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is called the chapter explaining about devotion, bhakti yoga, that means devotion. The Lord says, how can we identify a person whether he is a devotee or not? And he said, there is a very simple test. If I am a devotee or not, I can myself know. If you are not agitated by any person, by the behavior of any other person, and when you do not agitate any other person with your behavior, then you are a devotee. That is what the Lord said. So you can verify yourself. If you are not agitated by the presence of any person, and if you are not agitating any person by your presence, then you are a devotee. Then you are a yogi. So therefore, all this you have to apply every moment in your daily life, with every situation, with every person, you have to. So we have to put the effort. So there is much meaning in this, in telling that you have to put the effort. Tatra sthitau yatro yatno abhyasa, that is the aphorism which we are discussing, aphorism 13. So in that state, we have to put our effort. We have to make an effort to keep in that state always. That effort means it is not the effort which we think about in our mind. It is not just only attempt. There is something more which we have to add to this, to attempt. What is that something? That is it is called Shraddha in Sanskrit. Shraddha means it is an attitude which continuously your focusing continuously. It is Shraddha. So, that is also called Bhakti. So, devotion. Shraddha is devotion. So, devotion is very important. You have to add devotion. And also there is one thing. In this effort, not only adding devotion, it is also important that you should not think even for a moment about the things which you could not do in the past. So there is no use of repenting for the past. Many people will think that if we do some wrong thing and by repenting that is neutralized or nullified. But in the practice of yoga, your repenting means you are going back into the past. So that is not useful in yoga, real yoga practice. Suppose I have eaten something wrong yesterday. So today I got some pain or discomfort. So if I keep thinking I should not have eaten that yesterday, then you are not a yogi. I should not have eaten, it makes no sense. You have eaten already. Whether you should not have eaten or you should have eaten, it makes no difference because it is gone already yesterday. It is past. So you should not, so you have to apply every moment. So you have to use devotion and also not to think of what you could not do in the past. Many people keep thinking like that, oh, I could not do this last time. Suppose a student is there. He is preparing for examination. And all the time he thinks in the examination that how I can do, whether I can do better or not. That is about future. What you have to do now is to study. Focus yourself on the subject and study it. All the time you are thinking about the result, what you are getting, you are lost. So then you may fail or you cannot do better. Oh, I should not have done this. So after this, if you keep thinking, then also you are useless. So that is very important. You cannot, every moment, you should not think of your failure. What you have to do better now not to fail. That is the only thing you have to do. If you don't want to fail, you keep doing now in the present, your effort, you keep properly. So, what is explained in the Dharma Shastra is that you are defaming yourself if you are thinking about the failures in the past. You should only know where you have failed and then you rectify it now and you continue. But all the time you keep thinking about your failure and getting into depression due to the failure, then it is not a proper way of doing. You have to avoid this. So, this is like a suicide. That is what this, in Dharma Shastra it is said. It is, don't insult yourself by meditating upon your defects and failures. Don't meditate upon your defects and failures. Because if you keep meditating on those things, you will be defective. Your defects will continue. So there is also what is explained is yad bhavam tad bhavati. That means what you are meditating, you will be that. So if I am meditating upon my defects in the past, I will be defective now also. So therefore, you should not. It is very clearly explained by Manu, the Grand Master. What the Manu said is, don't insult yourself by meditating upon your defects and failures. Don't meditate upon them. So we have to only keep increasing our attitude towards others with devotion, love, and all these things. So therefore, in the next aphorism 14, he says that when the repetition is applied, so the aphorism is sahatu dirghakala nairantarya satkara sevito drudabhumihi. That is the next aphorism, 14th aphorism. Satu dirghakala nairantarya satkara asevito drudabhumihi. Sahatu, that means that repetition, dirghakala, for a long time. Nairantarya, that means without a gap, that means continuously. Satkara, that means good deeds. Asevita, that means well practiced. Drudhabhumihi, it takes a deep ground. So the meaning is, when the repetition is applied to good deeds continuously without any gap for a long time, then it gains a deep ground. So that is the meaning of this sutra. So, every day, what are the things that we repeat? What are the items that we repeat every day? Daily we repeat the following items. What are the items? Things we like, that we repeat every day. Things we like, and things to which we are addicted, that we repeat every day automatically. And things that are compulsorily done. So there are three things which we repeat every day. So, things we like. So we have likes and dislikes. So we select what we like and we keep repeating every day. And things to which we are addicted. Suppose every morning I am addicted to drink coffee after opening the eyes. So this invariably we continuously do it without a gap. Because it is addiction. A person, for example, every evening he is habituated to go to a club, sit in the club for 2 hours or 3 hours, playing the cards or doing something. So that is an addiction. So that he will repeat every day without any effort, automatically. And things are compulsorily to be done. What are the things? We are hungry. When you feel hungry, automatically you will take the food. So these are the compulsory things what we have to do. So these things we repeat every day. Our likes depend upon our addictions more than on needs. This is what is happening. What we like, if we just observe ourselves, we have some likes, some liking for some things and some dislike for some things. What are the things which we like more are those to which we are addicted. And all these things to which we are addicted are not needed to ourselves, to our body. You see? Our body has certain needs. But we are addicted to certain things which are not needed to the body. Suppose a person is addicted to drink alcohol every day, a glass of beer or something else. It is not that his body needs it, but it is because he got addicted to that, that is why every day he is drinking. So, our likes depend upon our addictions more than on our needs. Needs are different. Addictions are because of why we get addicted is because it starts as a desire. A desire. A desire leads us into addiction. There are only two things, desire and need. We have to remember this always. Need belongs to the body. Suppose I am hungry, food is needed. If I am thirsty, water is needed. Drink is needed. If I am tired, then rest is needed. So these are only some few needs are there which belong to the body. All the other things are desires, not needs. So desires belong to the mind, not to the body. If I am discussing about, we are studying Aphorisms of Patanjali. Some friend of mine arrives and says, "My dear, I brought a very, very tasty chocolate for you from the US or from Switzerland." Then even though I am speaking, we are discussing about the aphorisms, but this chocolate, if I am addicted to the chocolate, so my mind is drawn towards the chocolate. I cannot wait until completion of this also. So I will take a piece of chocolate and put it in the mouth. This is addiction. Is this a need to the body? No. It is a desire in the mind. So therefore we have to remember, needs are few which belong to the body, desires are infinite which belong to the mind. Desires. If you want to fulfill the desire, there will be more and more desires coming up. You cannot say that all my desires I have completed. You can never say this in your life before you leave the body. Even at the last moment of leaving the body also, there will be some desire left. Oh, I want to fulfill this desire before leaving the body. That is why, a person who is more addicted to many desires, to fulfill the desires, when he leaves the body, suddenly what happens? He leaves the physical body, but his astral body will be there, which is habituated for all these addictions. Then he wants to continue, but he has no body, then he feels suffering. That is the real hell. Master has given a wonderful example. Somebody who is habituated to drink very strong coffee in the morning, early morning. So one day he suddenly died. He left his body a few minutes before the time when he drinks coffee. So he left his physical body. He is still with his astral body, is there. Astrally he is there. Everybody will be there astrally for some time. Because not death means only physical body. But what about astral body? It continues for some time. So in the astral body also we can see our people, relatives who are sitting around us. They are drinking coffee. And this fellow feels, I have to drink coffee, but he has no body to drink coffee. So because of his strong addiction to coffee, he cannot drink, and he sees others are drinking. You see, you can feel, you can know how it will be. It is a hell. That is why it is an experience of hell. Hell and heaven are not there somewhere else. They are only here. They are only experiences of our previous addictions and all these habits. So we have to remember this. So therefore, our likes depend upon our addictions more than on needs. This gives added strength to the lower nature. What happens? We have two types of natures in us working. Lower nature and higher nature. It also, that is what God karma. So Jaina switched the sorry. Therefore, so then this continuously we have to keep this repetition. Then the question arises in the mind, how long we have to do it? How long we have to continue to repeat this, to make this repetition? Then he says that until it gains a deep, strong ground, until that you have to keep doing it. Suppose we are making a building, constructing a building. What we do, we put some bricks, some cement, all this material, and then what we do is that we keep it putting water. So, for some time, until that time that it becomes strong. That is how we do. So the ground should become hard. That is what is called Dhrudha Bhumi. In Sanskrit, Dhrudha Bhumi means hard ground. So the ground should become hard. Strong. Hard means here strong. So all the environment around us. So the environment around us should get strong. The environment around us should not become stronger. We must get stronger, not to get affected by the environment. For that purpose only we are making this effort. So this continuous effort, how long it should continue means until that time that it gains a strong ground. So all the incidents and all these things around in our environment should not affect us. Until that time we have to continue this. When once it becomes stronger, not being affected by the environment, then we can continue like that. So, what we do, for example, we want to meditate upon the indweller. How long we have to meditate upon the indweller? With every person we see. With every person, we have to repeat this application. Master used to give a wonderful example for this. There is a person who wanted to meditate upon Lord Krishna as a little boy, little child. It's called Balakrishna. Balakrishna means the young child Krishna. So this is one type of meditation. So this fellow every day was arranging everything for his meditation and closing the eyes. He was putting some butter in the plate to offer to Krishna, because Krishna as a child and afterwards also liked to have butter all the time, fresh butter. So this fellow was keeping fresh butter in a plate, keeping it for Krishna to offer in the puja and closing his eyes. By opening his eyes, the butter has disappeared. What happened? He has a grandson. He came crawling, and simply he has taken the butter and he has eaten away and gone. So when he opened the eyes, there is no butter to offer to Lord Krishna. So this fellow became furious upon his wife and the members of the family. What are you doing? My grandson is, that little child is disturbing me, taking away the butter. And then he became very furious, his blood pressure has increased and all these things happened. So Master says, why this fellow, what is this fellow practicing? He is practicing yoga. But he wants to meditate upon the Lord Krishna as a child. But he behaved like this. He became furious on the... Why he became furious is he could not realize that Lord Krishna come in the form of his grandson only. Why you are so much worried? You want that, you will like that Krishna should come to you to eat butter you have offered. Yes, he has eaten that butter you have offered in the form of your grandson. You could not realize this simple fact. But you say you are practicing yoga or meditation all the time. So therefore, you have to apply continuously. That is what is explained here. So then you can say that, then you are telling that we have to continue, we have to establish a chain of action with good deeds. So what are good actions then? What do you mean by good actions? Good action are good deeds and bad deeds. What are the good deeds then? Actions that are needed either by ourselves or by others are good actions. Because needs are common for everybody. Desires are different. Every person has his own desires differently. But needs are common because, for example, I am hungry. You are also can be hungry. These are the needs of the body. It is common. So therefore, actions that are needed either by ourselves or by others are good actions. Then what are bad deeds or bad actions then? Actions bound by our desires belong to our lower nature. These are wrong deeds or wrong actions. This is very simple. You can discriminate between good action and bad action, good acts and bad acts, just by this. Whether they are needed, this action is needed for ourselves and for others also, they are good deeds. If they are bound by our desires, they belong to our lower nature, which stimulate our lower nature. They are bad deeds. So needs are to the body and desires are of the mind. This we have to remember. The body accepts the needs, but the mind desires things not needed by the body. The mind constantly desires many things, most of them are really not needed to the body. You see? So why we get suffering of the body is because they are the results of the action of ours, which are not really needed and which are desired by our mind. They bring all the suffering for us. This we have to remember. So desire which sprouts from the mind, that is the steering factor for us into deeds which are not required. Then the result is established as suffering on the physical plane. So the body accepts the needs, but the mind desires things not needed by the body. It tries to prescribe things to the body, and they may be detrimental to fitness. You see, mind by itself, it cannot do anything on the physical plane. It can make only ideas. So it needs the body to work. Body can work on the physical plane, and mind gives the direction. So if mind gives the wrong direction to the body, then body is involved in wrong action. And what happens? The result of the wrong action is suffering, which is manifested on the physical plane, suffering on the physical plane. And it is once again it is experienced on the mental plane. Experience is on the mental plane, damage is to physical plane, and all this is the result of wrong deeds which are directed by the mind. So that is what is happening. So hence the student of yoga should repeat good things, repeat the body of himself and others, and keep them in a healthy condition. That is what we have to do. He should continuously meditate upon the liberation of the mind from the impression of others. That is most important, very basic thing. The mind is to be liberated from the impressions about others. So that is our aim. Because every moment our mind is making impression about others, then that is the reason for our chitta vritti. Because our behavior of the mind is as a reaction towards this impression about others. That is chitta vritti. So this is to be suspended. That is our aim. So therefore, this is what we have to require. We require the effort to meditate upon the need is continuous. It gets tuned to the power of habit-forming nature. So the effort to meditate upon the needs, if it is continuous effort without a gap, uninterrupted effort, that is what is explained here. Nairantarya means continuous effort without a gap. So today, we were sitting in meditation at 6 o'clock exactly in the morning. Tomorrow also, with a great difficulty, we are sitting in meditation just before about 6. And another day what happens? Our body, we get awakened because it becomes slowly becoming a habit. But the mind says, for today it's okay, take rest. Don't need today. So then we stop. So then there is a gap. So that is why he says, Nairantarya, continuously without a gap. You have to apply this without a gap. So that is, so whatever good deed you take up, you should apply continuously without a gap. How long? Until it is tuned to the habit. The power of habit forming nature, we have to tune this to this power, then it becomes a habit. Then what happens? Automatically, without even someday, suppose the morning alarm is not working, it has not worked. Even then, we got awakened and we get ready and we can sit just before 6 in the meditation, because it became a habit, or should become a habit. So, until it becomes a habit, you have to, without a gap, keep continuous effort. So that is abhyasa. So abhyasa is most important. That is why this is the very first instrument which is prescribed to us by Patanjali, abhyasa. The same thing is prescribed in Bhagavad Gita also. When Arjuna complained to Lord Krishna that I am not able to control my mind because it is always going hither and thither. It is impossible, I feel it impossible to control my mind. So how can I gain control and mastery over my mind? Then the Lord said, yes, it is true. Because it is the very nature of the mind to keep moving always hither and thither. It is its nature. So you cannot have a control like that. But you have to make use of two instruments. Exactly the same thing is given Bhagavad Gita. Abhyasa and Vairagya. Repetition of the effort and non-attachment. So repetition of this effort, that is what is prescribed by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita and also Master Patanjali in his Aphorisms. The same thing. So gaps in the effort. What happens if there is a gap in the effort? Then it will lead to a defeat. When there is a gap, then the effort is defeated. So there should be no gap, uninterrupted it should be. Since the older habits are better tuned to the habit-forming nature than the newly proposed ones. So we have proposed that we should meditate at 6 o'clock, for example. We should meditate at 6 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the evening. So this is a new proposal for us, for our mind. So we have to keep our effort without gap. If we give a gap, what happens? Our old habit will be activated. What is our old habit? Before we started this, our old habit is to sleep until 8 o'clock or until some time. Because we have no commitment. Therefore, our old habit is always there. We will not wake up like that. So we keep an alarm also, but the clock gives alarm, but we won't wake up. So therefore, what happens if we give a gap to the effort? Then the old habit will get activated, because your mind is tuned to the old habit already. So it gets activated. Then after a few months, then once again no, we should start again to meditate, start meditation at 6 o'clock, and again we have to start a new effort. This is what is happening. So the effort to continue should be more positive and strong until new habit is formed. So we have to put very strong effort, continuous strong effort for the new, until a new habit is formed and until it gets stronger, well rooted, strong. That is what is called Drudha Bhumi. So we have to continuously do it until it becomes strong in us. So for a long time, that is why he said Dirgha Kala, for a long time. So until how much time we have to do? We have to do it a long time. We have to put the effort, abhyasa, for a long time. So we should not be tempted to think, how long I have to do this? Forget about it. How long? What is this question? You have to eliminate this question. How long I have to do it? It is just like when we go to a doctor and doctor prescribes some medicine. How long I have to use it? Until you are cured. It is simple. Since how long you are suffering? Since many years. But now you want to know in how much time I will be relieved of this suffering. You eliminate this question. In the same manner here also. For how long I have to practice this? Therefore he says, for a long time. You cannot say how long. It depends upon how much effort you put. It can be within one day also it is possible, if you put that effort. Otherwise, it can take years and years also, then it is not properly possible. So you cannot say. So therefore, for a long time, then the fellow may get another question. Suppose if I do it, if I apply it, if I repeat it the whole life, and still I could not get it, then is it not a waste? That is the question again we get. Suppose I could not get the result until the end of my life. So I have wasted my life, that means, by putting this effort. That means his mind is not properly focused on the effort because he has this doubt inside the mind. If there is a doubt, if we doubt, then it is a blockage in this effort. So therefore, we should not allow the doubt. That is what the Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita also. Doubt is a great enemy. Your greatest enemy is your doubt towards this inner light. So don't allow this. You have to constantly eliminate this doubt. Because a person who has a doubt cannot be successful either in mundane plane or in the higher plane. In both ways, he is a failure. So doubt should be eliminated. It is the greatest enemy. So we will continue with this aphorism is almost over. We will continue in our next class. The next class is, next week we have another program fixed before. So next week there will be no class. Next Sunday, that means on the 16th of this month we have no class. So again we will meet on the 23rd, on the coming Sunday after next Sunday. Then we will meet to continue our study of this aphorism, next aphorism. Thank you all very much. Once again, Vasudeva.